What is up, Raveraide fam? Welcome to another episode of the Raveraide podcast with your host, Tyler Hardy. And as always, I just want to take a moment to express my overwhelming love and gratitude for each and every single one of you guys who are tuning in on a daily and weekly basis to talk about all things Raveraide, self-improvement, spirituality, biohacking, all the stuff that we are, huge advocates of here at Raveraide in order to assist you in becoming the most self-actualized and self-loved version of yourself. So then that way you can express and share your gift with the world, and we can solve a lot of these world problems that we're facing as a collective. So hopping into today's episode, what we're going to be talking about is the ideology of not needing anything is how we get everything that we want. And I'm going to explain a lot about like my life experience and my journey in regards to creating the things I wanted, or not creating the things I didn't want, and how having needy energy towards the things that we desire actually repel away the things that we desire in our life. And I'll explain because it's quite, contrary to popular belief. We think the more that we think about things, the more that we try to force things into our life, the more things are going to work out. And that's, quite honestly not the truth for everybody, especially people who are generators in human design, which is what I am. So I learned a lot through that as well in regards to how to actually create the things that I want in my life and how to, do it in a way that feels free and easy and flowful and right. So then that way, again, there's no force because nature doesn't work in force. Creation doesn't work in force. Only humans and ego work in force. And if you take a look around at, this entire world that we live in, there's a lot of force that goes on. There's a lot of, manipulation. There's a lot of, tactics and strategy and, not flow. Essentially, there's not as much flow in our world where there could be, and we could create something even greater if we lived in that flow and that trust and that synchronization with creation. So that way we're creating something with creation as opposed to swimming upstream against it. And so for a long time, I had a lot of really poor mindsets around certain things, specifically like money, getting the things that I wanted, romantic partners, etc. And I realized that due to having very codependent and very needy energy when I was younger, it was actually propelling or pushing things away from me. The things that I was desiring, I was pushing them away because when we touch into the ideology and the belief of totality, which is a belief that you are everything and that you are everyone, when we do that, if we really do embody that belief system and that knowing that I am everything, I am you, you are me, I am the universe, I am the grass, I am the sky, I'm the sun, I'm the stars, I am everything, I'm the whole experience, right? When you live in totality, that implies that there's no separation between you and everything else, right? So if we're looking for that partner, or we're looking for that new job or that money, or a way to serve others in a meaningful way, or whatever it is that you're desiring, or a healthier body, it's one of those things where if we are everything, then we don't need to have needy energy because we can think one thing and think, okay, well, I am everything, right? So if you are something, if you are money, for example, then you wouldn't have a need for it, right? You don't have, this desire or this implication that there's a separation between you and what you want. And this was a huge game changer for me when I started to realize this is when I was in like a lower vibrational state, what I would do is I'd be like, I need this, I need money, I need this thing, I need this material item, I need this person to validate the way that I want to feel inside because I can't give it to myself or I'm not giving it to myself. And when I do that, I create a degree of separation from what it is that I truly desire. We get what we are, not what we want. We get what we are, not what we want. And so it's important to know that, when you have needy energy, think of it like a magnet, like that need is what pushes it away from you and keeps you from being able to draw on the experiences that you want because we find what we're a vibrational match to. So if we want to be, have money, then we need to believe that we already have it. And that's why, meditation is so important. That's why it's so important to, really take good care of, your spiritual practice in that manner, and rewiring your subconscious mind to find the things that you're looking for in your human experience. And so, kind of touching back on totality here, if you embody this knowing that you are the entire experience and there's no degree of separation, which allows you to consciously, in a calm fashion, be able to pull in the experience that you're desiring for yourself. It allows you to start finding those opportunities and those experiences, because when you live in very needy energy, you are always looking for what's wrong. You're surviving in lack. Oh, I don't have this thing, therefore I'm not complete, is what you're saying to the universe. And it's reflecting that back to you. When in reality, you're whole and complete without anything as a sovereign being, and you are everything. So therefore, you are, that healthy relationship. You are that embodied individual. You are the job and career of your dreams. You are, the money that you desire. You are all of these things. And when we start becoming a vibrational match to these things and also having congruency in our day-to-day actions to start pulling those things in, that's how we actually manifest. That's the real way to manifest things, in synchronization with creation, the way that it was intended to be. And so that desire for things is completely healthy. It's part of the human experience, is to want and desire things, right? But there's a difference between wanting and desiring and being needy towards what it is that we're wanting for ourselves. Need implies lack. It implies separation from what it is that you desire. When when we step into our higher self, we step into that higher frame of knowing that we are everything and we are everyone. There is no degree of separation, because you are the entire experience. And creation is experiencing abundance, happiness, joy, and fulfillment through you, because it's experiencing itself. It's quite an interesting thing when you think about it. You can go quite deep into this, and it's really beneficial to know, because what it's done as a byproduct for me personally is I get to a place now where I don't feel like I have to overextend myself to achieve the things that I want to achieve. When I'm living in my highest frame, when I'm living in a place that, I know that I'm in perfect alignment, it's one of those things where it's effortless. It flows. It's super easy. The solution presents itself at the perfect time, and there's no reason to get outside yourself or worry or panic or fear, and feed into the overall energy of the collective. And it's an interesting thing. It really is. And it allows for things to come in. It's that detachment from the outcome that's super important with all of this. I'm whole and complete already, so why do I need anything else, right? And that's what draws everything in, and that was something that took a long time for me to really wrap my head around, right? This detachment, because we're taught to be attached to things. We're taught to, when things aren't going the way we want them to, we squeeze harder. We try to manipulate more. We try to force more things to happen for us, right? And granted, there is a time and place where execution is required and that congruency of action is required in order to get, what we want to get out of the experience, right? But we know when that time comes. We know when the work needs to be done. But what happens, or what I used to do, is, oh, this person doesn't like me, or this thing isn't going the way that I want it to, so I'm gonna create this massive ripple of trying to force something to happen, trying to squeeze something to happen. And that right there is when mistakes get made, because one thing that I've really learned over the past year or so is that creation is so much more intelligent than we are from our limited perspective. And when I say limited perspective, is we can only comprehend so much from the viewpoint that we're living in currently at this time. Whereas creation is completely omnipotent and omnipresent and sees things far in advance from what we actually see, and in different ways, and sees the whole chessboard, whereas we see one spot at a time. And so it's important to know that, releasing that need to control is going to help draw in a better experience for you. Because, even though something may not be working out the way you want it to, something else is going to be taking its place. Something better is coming for me. So, one thing that I've really done, it's a good exercise, and I encourage you to do this, is when something's not working out the way that you think it should, or the way that you want it to, the way that ego wants it to be perceived, take a moment and say, hey, this thing isn't working out the way that I anticipated, but a better result is coming for me. A better outcome, the most ideal outcome is coming for me. And releasing that need to control is so, so liberating. It's so freeing because you know that you're working in conjunction with creation. You know that you're working in collaboration with infinite intelligence to create something even greater than what you initially imagined. And Raveraide's a living example of that. It's proof of that. And it just continues to keep getting better and better and better. And I realize the more that I release control to exactly the way it needs to be, it creates an opening and a detachment. So it allows me to draw in better potentials and better outcomes. It allows the team to see better solutions and better potentials for all of us, for you as the customer, for the planet, for us, for everything that we stand for and what we're about here, because we create the space to allow that better solution to come in, the most ideal outcome. So again, when you're feeling stressed or something is not going the way that you want it to, instead of squeezing down and clamping down harder, then release that control. Know that whatever it is that created you, whatever you believe in, God, the universe, creation, maybe nothing, know that the best potential outcome is coming for you and it's going to find you. And that's if you stay in alignment and you stay detached from the outcome and you just keep building that neural pathway inside of yourself saying, you know what? The best potential outcome is coming for me. The best solution is on its way. And I just need to pay attention and stay aware. If I can do that, then I'm going to see and discover the best potential outcome. And as a result of that, my life's going to be the best it can possibly be. Everyone else's life is going to be the best it can possibly be. The customers, the planet, everyone who experiences what I'm working on, it's going to be the best potential outcome. And same thing with this podcast, right? And I hit a bit of a creative block, a couple weeks ago where I was like, I don't really have much to talk about. And then I released that control. I was like, what, instead of trying to force episodes that, may not have been of the highest quality, I took a step back. I really released control, and literally within like a 20-minute window one of these days, maybe like a week ago, like 20 or 30 podcast episodes dropped right in. It's like, here it is. This is what you need to be talking about. This is what you need to be, assisting people with. And it just came in. It's been effortless. It flows. And flow is so important. We live in a world that's, everything is forced. The things that we do to the planet, the things that we do to one another, the lower vibrational frequency on this planet is really causing a lot of, strife and a lot of discord. And it's a result of not being connected and synchronized with creation, because I saw the sign at Electric Forest and it really stuck with me like really heavily. And it said that nature is never in a rush, but it gets everything done. And so why are we in a rush? Why are we trying to force things in our life that may not be the most conducive thing for us? It may seem like it is in the moment, or we fantasize and think about, oh, well, this would be ideal, but maybe there's something that's more ideal. Maybe there's something that's going to work out better, or maybe it is the right thing, but you have to be patient. You have to exercise that patience and know that divine timing is going to put you in perfect alignment and perfect timing with the most ideal outcome. You might be seeing the right things, right? And that's one thing that I think the thing that I still work on the most to this day is patience, right? Because I had this vision for everything that we're creating and everything else that's going on in my life. and where I would like to live and how I would like to live, and what the experience is like and the people that I spend my time with, and all these things, right? And exercising that patience is what's going to help you arrive at the perfect time. It's going to help you arrive at that perfect moment. It's going to help you develop those skills that you need to be able to actualize that reality. And so there's so much that's going on. And what I'm getting at here is just staying in alignment, finding your alignment and staying detached to the outcome, just knowing that regardless of what happens, the best potential outcome is coming my way. The best potential thing is coming my way. And then it eliminates that limited perspective that we all live in, because we can only process so much information from the eyes that we see through. And so it's one of those things of knowing and having trust and having, a healthy, reliance on creation to know that like it's bringing a great opportunity for you. It's bringing the best experience for you. And that's when we start to trust life again. That's when we start to love life again. That's when we start to open our heart to more things and more potentials and more opportunities. And that best thing finds you. And for a long time, I can speak on this, that I, had my heart closed off to life. I didn't trust life. I allowed the way that other people treated me, or I allowed experiences or traumas that were unresolved to, really put me in a box, and I avoided and I disassociated for a long time, and it kept me away from what it was that I was fully capable of. I keep discovering new and new levels of that each and every single day, and I know that the same is possible for you. I know that it is because anything is possible when we live in totality, when we live in our highest ideals, and knowing that we don't have to have every single thing figured out. We don't have to have every single solution to every single thing jotted out and plotted out. We can allow for something bigger and better to come in, and so one thing that I really do, and this has been like a really healthy way of going about things I've noticed, is with the given information that I have in my life, I plot a direction and a course that I would like to take. And I used to be one of those people where it's like, this is what we're doing, this is how we're doing it. If it doesn't work this way, then everything's messed up. And I see a lot of people commonly do that with like relationships. Oh, if it's not this person, then it's no person, and my life's ruined, it's over if this doesn't work out. And it's like so far from the truth, right? And that's that need to control, that's that need to grasp, right? That's that needy energy that we were talking about earlier in the podcast. And when in reality, it's like I plot the course and I journal these things, what I would like to see happen, what seems to make the most sense, all these things, right? From the information that I'm bringing in. And then I also have this caveat though, or this knowing that if I'm wrong, it's completely okay, because something better is going to be coming in. Maybe a new piece of information shows up, a better way of doing something shows up, a new opportunity shows up. And it completely, alters the course of the trajectory that you're on, or you think you're going to be going on. But you know that it's better for you because, as always, like we said, the best outcome is always on its way to me. The best outcome is always on its way to you. And then as a result of that, it's going to help you, not be attached to the outcome of it being a certain way. You're like, oh, I'll trade that all day. I'd rather do that. That makes more sense. So it really comes down to like a combination of, non-needy energy, totality, knowing that you are everything. So you get to choose what experience that you have. And then from there, you get to, have an idea for where you'd like to go, and then stay open and receptive to an even better outcome. And then be congruent in your daily actions. So every single day, showing up in the way that, these things are going to happen. For example, I want this to be the best podcast in the world, right? So there has to be congruency in my actions. I have to show up every single day. I get to show up every single day, and I get to be the best that I can possibly be, right? And maybe we talk about, certain subject matter for a while, and then suddenly there's a better subject matter to talk about. Maybe I learned something new or bring a new piece of information in, right? And that's like, okay, this is the thing that we're going to talk about the most. This is the thing that's going to help the most people. And then before you know it, the best outcome comes, which, the actualization of it being the best podcast in the world. Does that make sense? Like, it's one of those things where, if I'm stuck on like, hey, we're going to talk about just raving, or we're going to talk just about, whatever it is, I'm stuck and fixated on, right? You know, and I have this needy energy towards like, it needs to be the best podcast. It has to be the best podcast, right? It's, it's locking you in a box, right? Whereas the potential could be so much greater if it's like, okay, you expand your horizons. Oh, this new piece of information's come in. There's this new potential. Oh, this is what would help the most people. Boom. And then you find that niche, and then boom, it takes off because you're actually delivering what people need, not what you think you wanted. And so we stay loose and we stay very flexible with everything that we do here. And that's just an example. Like, I hope that resonates for you, or you can kind of take that frame that we're creating right now and apply it into your life. Because the second that I started realizing that I don't have to have everything figured out, and that information's coming in, new information's coming in on a daily basis, that's going to assist in being able to find the right direction, the most ideal outcome, it's allowed me to really just be more embodied and not forward projecting and anxious about trying to figure these things out all at once. That's what I want for you, because people that are embodied and empowered and living in their highest frame and ideal, they're present. They're not thinking about the past. They're not thinking about the future. They're just working with what they have right in front of them, and they're compounding that growth. They're compounding those results, day in and day out, and becoming better and better and better, with what they have to work with. And before they know it, they have an even better ideal outcome than what they initially anticipated. And I see that happening with everything that we're working on. And so it's nice to be able to get out of the way. It's nice to, release some of that control, and say, okay, like, it's not just about what I think, right? It's about what I'm here to work with, and being allowing of things to come in that are going to be of a higher, desired outcome for each of us. And we can all tap into this energy. Like, there's so much victim consciousness on this planet, and like, we're here to knock that down. That's a huge reason why, I created this podcast, is because I used to be the victim of my circumstances. I used to think that things weren't fair. I used to think that, the more I controlled, the better I was going to be. And that came from trauma, because the need to control comes from the need to gain familiarity and to gain predictability. Because when we, squeeze and hold, and we, force outcomes, even though they're not as ideal as they could be, at least they're known, which, to the ego thinks that it's safe and it's ideal because it's, able to keep you alive in a predictable pattern. When in reality, we release that control, we know that we're everything. What could come in for you? What experience could you have? What's the potential of your life? What is that? Those are the questions that we get to answer, that we get answered for us, because God and the universe and creation wants us to experience that. It wants us to experience pure joy and bliss and abundance. It wants us to have all these experiences, and the importance of us releasing that control allows for that magic to work into our life, that change to happen, and this is where you get really, mentally resilient and have a lot of mental fortitude, is like when things seem like they're falling apart, knowing that the best potential outcome is still coming, and that sometimes things shift and move and fall away, so that way it creates space, because we only have so much capacity and potential energetically to have certain things in our life. So sometimes it seems like something's falling apart. It's actually falling apart for you. It's moving and breaking down for you, so then that way the new great thing can take its place. The thing that makes you feel joyous and happy and brings you all the money that you want, or the relationship that you're desiring, and all these different things, it's creating that space for you. And so staying loose, staying detached, knowing that needing nothing gets you everything, because we're whole and we're complete regardless of the outside circumstance. Whether you have no money, or $1 billion, or you have a significant other, or you're single, or you have the job of your dreams, or you just lost your job, like, you're whole and complete regardless of the physical, reality that's outside of you. And that it's our job to make sure that we're, taking good care of ourselves energetically and mentally, and setting the stage, because everything outside of us is just a reflection of our internal belief system and reality. So the more that we get everything healed and aligned internally, the more that we're going to start seeing that reflection outside of us. and we're going to start getting that reverberation back, and we're going to start seeing that. So if we're always focusing on the most ideal outcome internally with our health, our mental health, our spiritual practice, our meditation, all of these things, we're becoming the vibrational center point for the best potential outcome to come into our life. And when we allow and we don't block ourselves with ego or limiting beliefs, that's when the best potential scenario can come in, and we become one with that. We become the vibrational match to it, and that's how we get more of the things that we desire. Does that make sense? I really hope that this is really sinking in well, and that you're really, conceptualizing this, because it's something that none of us were really taught. This has all been through just my personal life experience of working hard to get the things that I've desired in my life. And I do believe in hard work. So this isn't one of those things where I'm saying like, hey, you just sit here and it just shows up, right? There has to be congruency in action here, right? So if we desire something, if we desire, a multi-billion-dollar business, or we desire more money than we've ever made, it's going to require more output than we've ever had to do before. But knowing that you're not doing it alone, knowing that you're doing it in a game-like fashion with creation, makes it more fun. It makes it less pressure. It makes it one of those things where it's like, that you're not doing it alone. Because if you are everything, if you are the whole experience, think of how infinite that is. You don't have to have the answer to every single thing. You just got to take the right step. The right step is the next step, right? And we become better through our experiences and trial and error. We start seeing, okay, well, that's the right step. That step definitely is not the step that we want to take. And we start becoming better and more discerning. And we start compiling and compounding that incremental, ism that comes together with making the right decisions, and day in and day out. And before you know it, you're exactly where you want to be, plus some, plus more. And then you're teaching other people how to do the same thing. You're expressing that through the love that you have for whatever you've created, and that allows you to really, experience the upper echelon of human experience. And that's what I want for you guys more than anything. So without further ado, guys, just make sure that, you take what resonated for you in this episode. If anything felt right to you, then go ahead and integrate that into your day-to-day life. Make decisions that are going to help pull you into that congruency. And if you're someone who's really, out of a place of maybe trauma, squeezed and tried to manipulate and force and control life, thinking that that's the way to go, I can promise you that it is not. And that releasing that control is going to create an expansion inside of you that's, hard to even put it into words. That's going to allow you to really get the most out of your life in whatever capacity that is. So really take that time and reflect, and look at these situations and get honest with yourself. The proportion of your healing is directly correlated to your ability to be honest with yourself and to look at the truth. The more that you can look at the truth and the longer you can look at it in a higher quality, the quicker that you're going to heal. So take some time, give yourself 5 or 10 minutes after this episode to really reflect upon what we talked about today, and pick and choose the things that are, that you feel are going to be the things that really are going to help make that change in your life, and then start integrating and implementing those things. And before you know it, you're going to be exactly where you want to be, plus some. So without further ado, guys, got some updates for you guys. We're going out tonight actually to see an artist and meet up with them. And some of you guys who have been following us closely probably know who we're talking about. But we're going to be delivering a sample flavor to them and some other things. And then we got Austin City Limits this weekend. So if you're going to be there, be sure to come say hi. I'm not sure if we're going to have the totem or not, but just keep an eye out for us if you do see us. But yeah, some good things are happening. We got some big improvements with some of the flavors. We've also got a new flavor that we completed last night that we're at the point where we think it's 100% ready to go to production. And honestly, it's my new favorite flavor that we have here. So honestly, excited to deliver that to you guys at some point in the future. I'm not sure when that's going to happen. We still have a lot of things up in the air in regards to really dialing in the formulation, our new packaging route that we're going to be heading down. Just a lot of revisions, honestly. But again, not having control of how it needs to be, allowing something better to come in is what's happening right now. So everything that I talked about in this podcast, that's going on inside of Raveraide actually, and it's coming together quite beautifully, honestly. And I really think that this is going to continue to make the company better and stronger and have a better foundation. So then that way, as we scale and as we grow and become the company that I know that we're capable of becoming, we're going to really be able to have firm footing and be able to continue to deliver better and better products, better and better services, etc. to you guys, because you deserve it. The world deserves companies that actually give a shit, and companies that actually stay congruent with their values, and actually deliver products that add health to people's lives and add quality to their experience, as opposed to detracting from it, which there's plenty of companies out there that are doing that right now. So we stand to be the opposite of that, and we hope that you guys feel that and know that. And so if you have any questions or anything like that, be sure to shoot us an email or DM on Instagram, or check us out at www.drinkraveraide.com. So without further ado, guys, my name is Tyler Hardy. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and we will talk soon. Peace.